What's up guys, MizzoFrizzo from Pitchfork Academy here, and in this Unreal Engine 5 tutorial I'm going to show you how to set up bullet ricochet or bullet rebound, rebounding bullets, whatever you want to call it. So as you can see here, I've got this little playground that I've set up, and if I shoot at the wall here, you'll see my bullets will ricochet off the wall, spawning particle effects with bullet travel time, which I think is pretty cool. I've got this set to ricochet twice at the moment, but for example, if I press 5 on my keyboard, I'm going to change it to ricochet 5 times. And you may not see where some of these will ricochet, but you can hear them ricocheting behind me. There you go. And I've also got this set up to dilate time. So if I press T to switch on my time dilation and I shoot here, we can see these bullets ricocheting in slow motion. The really cool thing about this is the bullets have travel time. So the longer away the wall is, the longer the bullet will take to hit. And those particle effects will also rotate based on the reflection, the sort of refraction of the bullet. So if I pause this when this particle effect hits and press F8 to eject and go and have a look, you'll see that it is sort of spawning in the direction that the bullet is then traveling after it bounces. So if I unpause now, you'll see that. Nice. Now guys, this is built off of the top of my Ultimate Weapon System tutorial and playlist, but just FYI, I'm not going to be showing how to apply damage as part of this ricochet system. It is kind of a specialized system that not everyone will want to have in their game, so just for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm just going to keep it purely to this logic that ricochets the bullets like so. So without further ado guys, let me show you how to do this. Alrighty guys, so I'm here in my project, and once again this is built using my Ultimate Weapon System tutorial. So if you haven't seen that tutorial already, I highly recommend you check it out. I will link it in a card up the top right of your screen right now. And just before we jump into the ricochet logic, I just want to check the range that I've set on these weapons. I know for my damage fall off tutorial, I set the range of my pistol to really quite low. So I'm actually just going to use the assault rifle here. I'm going to open up my assault rifle and I'm just going to make sure that the range is something decent. And that is very high there. That is 150 meters. Actually, I might just make this something like 50 meters, so 5,000 centimeters, and compile and save and close that, and then I'm going to open up my character's blueprint. Now I'm just going to find my firing logic here, and as I said in the intro, I'm not going to be doing applying damage on this one, so I am just going to disconnect these nodes here and delete this line and move this damage fall off, apply damage stuff out to the side like so. Now you can go ahead and try and apply damage to enemies with your ricocheted bullets, but this system is already pretty complex as is, so I just want to keep it to the ricochet logic for today's tutorial. And so I've got my firing logic here. I'm just checking if I have a weapon, and if I'm firing, then I'm playing the animation on my weapon and I'm drawing a line trace from my weapon here. And I've got my trace channel set to bullets, which we created in another tutorial. And I'm also going to put my draw debug type to for duration just for now. And I might just make this 2.5 seconds. The first thing we want to do here is get the out hit here and promote it to a variable. And I'm just going to call it hit, because we are going to want to use this for our for loop with break in a moment. Let's also break this hit result and first just check if we hit anything. You can do this on the return value, or you can do it on the blocking hit here. I'm just going to drag off of the blocking hit and make a branch, check if we hit something. And if we do hit something, the first thing we want to do is start setting the total distance that our bullet has traveled, because I'm going to make it so that the bullet will not travel further than the range of the weapon, including all of the ricochets. So I'm going to grab the distance here, and I'm going to promote it to a variable, and I'm going to call it total distance. And the next thing I'm going to do is sort of add in some bullet travel time. I'm going to take this total distance and I'm going to multiply it by a very, very small number, 0.00025, something like that. 0.0001 is probably closer to an accurate sort of bullet travel speed, like velocity, but this is just to accentuate it a little bit so that we can see that ricochet, happening more clearly, the bullet travel time happening more clearly. You could change this to 0.0001, and that would probably be a bit more realistic, but I'm going to set it to 0.00025 for now, and I'm going to use this as the time on a delay. And the first thing I'm going to do now, before we do our ricochet, is spawn a particle effect sort of at that hit location there. So I'm going to put this into a function. I'm going to create a function. I'm going to call it spawn. I'm just going to call it spawn FX, because I'm going to spawn a sound effect as well. And I'm going to give this one input. It's going to be a hit result. I'll just call it hit, and of type hit result. Pass through a hit result, and I'm going to spawn emitter at location. I'm going to break this hit result, and the location is going to be the location of the hit right here. I am also going to, now this is basically the beginning of the calculating the ricochet trace. I'm going to drag off of trace start here and get unit direction vector, and the trace end will be the 2. So from trace start to trace end, and then I am going to mirror vector by normal, and the normal is going to be the impact normal here, and this is basically calculating the actual ricochet. We can change the rotation of this emitter by dragging off of this node here and making a rotator from the X vector, make rot from X, and plug this into the rotator here, and that's pretty much this spawn emitter at location set up. Let's just choose an emitter to spawn. So if you've got the military weapons pack, then it has some emitters in it, and I'm just going to use an emitter from that. I'm going to use impact stone large from that asset pack, but you can use any other kind of emitter or sound effect that you like. And I'm also going to spawn a sound at location. The location is going to be this hit location, and the sound I am going to spawn is a rifle impact Q. Rifle impact surface Q. So this, if you browse to this is a Q that basically randomizes between these 6 different sounds here. So you'll get a different sound every time. Nice. Now that's all set up in here. Let's go back to the event graph and let's call that function. And let's make sure that we pass through our hit that we promoted to a variable. Nice. So this is essentially the first hit before it has ricocheted, and we want to do this here just because it's just a lot easier than trying to figure out how to put this in the for each loop, because we're not actually going to do this trace in the for each loop. We're just going to use it for the next trace, if that makes any sense. So now that we've done that, we can start our loop, and it's going to be a for loop with break. apologies if I said for each loop. I meant to say for loop with break. For loop with break, and the first index is going to be 1. And the last index is how many ricochets that you want. So I'm going to set this to 2 for now, and I'm going to drag off of here and promote this to a variable, and let's just call it max ricochets. Like so. Nice. The next thing we can do is get our hit and break it. But just before I break it, what I'm actually going to do is go into the spawn FX here, and I'm actually going to take these 3 nodes right here, just so I don't have to bring them up again. And I will put these here, plug the hit in, and this will get me off to a good start. We are going to first check if we hit something. So I'm going to get the blocking hit here and make a branch, plug this into the loop body, and if we do hit something, we want to do a line trace. I need to get these way more out of the way. I'm going to put those down there. I am going to do a line trace by channel, and this is going to be our bullets channel, and I'm going to have it draw a debug for duration and set this the same as the others, 2.5 seconds. And the start is going to be the impact point plus return from this mirror vector by normal here. So we can add those together and plug that into the start like so. And I will try and keep this as neat as I can. We are going to end up with some spaghetti code here today, but follow along. It should be easy enough to set up. Now, I'm also going to get my current weapon. So I'm going to find my function get current weapon, and I'm going to get the range of that current weapon, and I am going to subtract a variable that we will create in a moment. Oh no, we already created it, sorry. Total distance. So we're going to subtract total distance from the range, and that basically gives us the remaining range for the next line trace. We can multiply this mirror vector by normal by this sort of remaining range, and then we can add this to the impact point, and that will give us our trace end like so. Nice. So that will basically ricochet now, but we would just need to set hit again. So the good way to think about this hit variable that we're saving here is it's like the previous hit that will be used for the next ricochet. So we can set hit right here as the hit, and we can do a branch here off the return value. And if we do hit, we obviously want it'll just run the loop again. But if we don't hit anything, we would want to break this loop. So if that ricochet goes up into the sky or something like that, it will break the loop. And also because this is only going to draw sort of to the remaining range that we have left, the range of the weapon minus the total distance so far, this will break this loop. So we can try this out now. Gonna hit play, and I changed the range of the pistol, but I didn't, sorry, I changed the range of the assault rifle, but I didn't change the range of the pistol, so I want to grab this one. So we can see the ricochet working there. Nice. And actually, we did get a good example of the pistol not reaching its target there, so that is more than 10 meters away, and that line trace is stopping, and if it's less than 10 meters, it is ricocheting up to a total of 10 meters. So that is working there, but obviously the particle effect is only spawning on the first hit. So there's some more logic required. And the first thing that we need to do if we do hit something with that ricocheted line trace is add to our total distance. So we can set our total distance, and it's going to be our total distance plus the distance of this hit result right here, this line trace right here. So we can drag off of here, break hit result, drop this down and grab distance. And I do believe distance is all we're going to need from that one. And then we also want to basically calculate how much time we want before the next hit. So we've got that sort of effect of the bullet travel time. So we can just duplicate total distance, and I'm going to call it Ricochet hit time. And I'm going to set it here, and it's going to be, oh, I didn't plug this in. Make sure I plug in those math nodes into the set total distance. And here, this is going to be the same as this figure right here. So actually, we could, you know, sort of promote this to a variable, and we could call it bullet velocity, something like that. And I'll just double check that that got the default value there, 0.00025, and I can get both of these nodes, duplicate them over here, plug in the total distance, and plug this one in here. Nice. And this is basically just going to be used as a delay to spawn our particle effects. Now it does get a little bit messy from here, and there may be a more elegant way of doing this, but I don't know it. If you can think of one, please do let me know. But I'm going to get the index of my loop here, and I'm going to do a switch on int, plug this in here, and get some reroute nodes, try and keep this neat. And add a few pins to this. I'm going to add up to an index of 5, ricochet of 5, but you will need however many that you want to have ricochets, you know, sort of in your game. Now, we sort of need to store a different hit for each ricochet. So what I'm actually going to do is take my hit variable down here, and I'm going to duplicate it 5 times. So I've got 5 of them. And I'm going to set them here off of each of these execution pins on the switch on int. Once again, this may not be the absolute best way of doing this, but it's the best I could come up with. If you do think of a way of making this a bit cleaner, please don't hesitate to let me know. And what we're going to be setting these as is the hit right here. So it's basically just every time we ricochet and we've got this hit stored here, we're storing it temporarily for the purposes of spawning particle effects later on. And you know, you could use these to check if you've hit an actor and apply damage as well if you were going to add a damage system to this. So I'm going to plug all of these in like so. And then we are going to do a delay. And I'm just going to set one up, and then I'll duplicate it 4 more times. So we're going to get a delay, and we are also going to spawn our FX. And where we're going to spawn them is at this hit right here. We're going to pass through that hit like so. And then I can duplicate this a couple more times, put these in here, plug in the execution pins, and also pass through the corresponding hit result like so. And the delay here is going to be this ricochet hit time that we've calculated here. So grab this and plug this into the duration on all of these delays. And then we just want to check if we still have any range after we hit these. Now we do have this check right here, but we still want to break the loop because otherwise it might spawn particle effects and sounds when the bullet actually hasn't reached anything. So we can actually just get these nodes right here, the range and total distance, duplicate them over here, and we just want to check that the range is greater than the total distance. And put this on a branch. So if the range is greater than the total distance, the total distance greater than the range. My bad. It's been a long day, guys. Please bear with me. The total distance is greater than the range. Then we want to break this loop. But we also want to reset the ricochet hit time and the total distance. So what I might do, and we want to do that when we complete the loop as well. So what I might do is just move these up a little bit. And on completion of the loop here, I'm going to make a sequence, and the sequence is going to reset my total distance and my ricochet hit time both to 0. It's going to set both of these to 0 for the next time we fire, and also this is going to break the loop like so. So we've got a couple of things that break the loop here. If a ricochet doesn't hit anything, it's going to break the loop. If the ricochet does hit something and then, it's sort of outside of the range, it's also going to break the loop. So we're going to get the true here, and we're going to plug it all the way back into the sequence over there, like so. Actually, that if we don't hit anything, we probably want to reset these as well. So actually, I am going to take this false and plug this into the sequence as well, not into the break. So it will break it, but anything basically plugged into this sequence is going to reset these floats and then break that loop to stop it going off. And that should be pretty much everything, I do believe. So I'm going to hit compile and save and test this out, see if it works. It can be a little bit distracting with the line traces, so I might just change the draw debug type back to none on both of my line traces and have a look. And guys, I do believe that is working correctly. Nice. That's it, guys. That wasn't as hard as I thought. Didn't take as long as I thought it would take to set up. If this tutorial has been of any use or value to you whatsoever, please hit like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.